What up, folks? Y'all see I got the MPC 4000 powered on. It's been a long time. I just wanted to make sure everything still worked on it. I haven't powered this thing up probably in a year or two. Everything works. Yeah, as y'all can see, these buttons is a little yellow. Been around for a while. But needless to say, what I did actually was program the drum loop inside of the MPC Live and sampled it onto the 4000 just to capture the analog to digital conversion coming into the 4000 right here. I created like a little skeleton track just to test everything, make sure everything's still functioning and work properly. So I started out actually, I've been working with MPC since the MPC 62. That was my actual first MPC that I had. That was back like in 1995. During that time, still have my Sonic EPS 16 Plus. That was my first sampler, professional sampler that I had. And sequencing on the Sonic EPS 16 Plus was a nightmare. The keyboard used to freeze, overheat in the middle of a track. It trains you to hit save frequently, to save your to save, because you could lose everything with that machine. So, but once I got the MPC 62, the 60 Mark II, and I MIDI that up with the Sonic EPS 16 Plus, it was game over. It was game over. The timing on the MPC, the sound of the MPC was vicious. My drums was punching. Now, actually, back then, even used to resample coming out of the MPC 60 back into the Sonic. Because the stuff that we fighting to get back now, like that true analog sound, with the air and everything, we was fighting to get rid of that shit back in the day with DBX and all types of other things to get rid of his sound and our tracks. We was trying to get the clearest sound back then. Now we trying to go back to the essence and get that raw shit, But yeah, so that's my little history. How I got this machine, I'm thinking about selling it. I got it from Bruce Forat. And I'm kind of embarrassed to tell y'all how I got it. I actually traded him for an original Roland TR-909. And back then I didn't realize the worth of the TR-909. So that was one of my mistakes, trading them for 4000. But I needed one badly because I had sold my 4000 and then I needed it. So I wound up hitting Bruce up. That's when I was living out in Cali. Came up there and we traded. It was like a rainy ass day that day too. And I pulled up on him and was like, yo, and he traded me. And then I was fortunate enough, he actually blessed me with some of his custom sounds that he designed for Prince and a lot of other people. I don't have it loaded right now, but some old school sounds. Yes, old sounds that he loaded into my my machine here from his system. And he traded me. I was like, bet. And and I still got it. This is what I think this was like back in like 2010, something like that. But anyway, so here's a skeleton track that I made. But yeah, so that's just a skeleton track, like a bass. And I usually build on top of the bass, obviously, to make a complete track, a complete record and whatnot. But my primary workflow, I barely use the MPC in standalone. Yeah, I was a standalone dude, but yeah, I'm using Studio One because Studio One, as far as the sequencer, is powerful as hell. The MPC sequencer is powerful as hell too. For all my people that use the MPC and standalone, you could pretty much play this like an instrument almost when you programming. But yeah, but you could do the same thing on Studio One, and much, 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 much more faster as well. So yeah, and I'm not even gonna lie, my speed and my workflow is a hell of a lot slower on here than it is on MPC Live, and then comparing the MPC Live as far as a sequencer, Studio One is way faster than even the MPC Live as far as getting your thought down quicker. But everybody got their workflow. Just for the people, I'm just gonna say this for the record. Just because you use a machine as standalone don't mean that you're keeping it real. You know, it just whatever worked for you is whatever worked for you. At the end of the day, it's the final result. But one thing I can say is that I love the sound of this 4000. I like the feel of it. I like this machine is a tank. And I know what's keeping me on the edge with the 4000 from selling it is that this was the last MPC that was made from the original Akaya owners. So when they sold this machine, they wanted to make this the ultimate MPC that was ever made. So that's why, this was the first, at this time was the first sampler that can sample at 24-bit 96K. And you can go down to 44 1 16-bit. And you can resample all the way down, I think, to like 8-bit or 6, something ridiculous. You can resample back to 12-bit inside the machine. So this machine was so advanced when it first came out, a lot of people ain't really fuck with it because it was a lot of menu diving and the learning curve was ridiculous. But it was the most powerful sampler, way ahead of its time. It's feature rich, but compared to the MPC Live. The MPC Live is like alien technology to this joint right here. Even though this is 24-bit 96K, the new MPCs, hands down, is the world's most powerful sampler. Standalone units. Hands down. There's no other machine on the market that can get with an MPC. Not the new ones. And even the old ones, like this 4000 is ridiculous. The 2500. But as far as having your own sounds, like what you can do with this thing, especially with the stem separation, even though it's not the best stem separation compared to like Studio One and other digital workstations, it's still powerful just to have that option inside of a standalone unit. It's something that man, you know how much time we had to spend trying to filter out drums and other artifacts inside of a record that we were sampling. Now you can separate the sounds pretty much and then still run it through filters and chop up the sounds. There's so much stuff you could do nowadays. It's like the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit, man. But I'm loving the space that we in right now as far as the tools that we have. One thing I can say, I'm not a big fan of the outcome. We have a lot of technology, but the music that's being produced, a lot of these records, to me personally, don't stand the test of times compared to when we didn't have much. Records that we've created way back in the 90s and the 80s is still creating publishing checks compared to a lot of this microwave music that's being made now. So that's the unfortunate thing about technology. It seems like we produce so much better music with better content back in the day than with less technology than we do today with unlimited amount of technology. Now people using AI and other things. It just it's like a gift and a curse at the same time. Hopefully the music industry changes to our favor, because right now is the streaming shit is whack. Producers is probably like we at the very bottom of the totem pole. People take what we do for granted. People don't want to pay. It's a struggle being a record producer in these time of days. Underappreciated like a motherfucker, like engineers, recording engineers such as myself, underappreciated, always overlooked. We is nothing but a remote control and a person that hits switches to these people in the industry. We never received publishing check or residual income. It was from one project to the next project on an hourly basis. That's the reality of recording engineers and mix engineers, mastering engineers. You only as good as your last project. Producing wise, you only as good as your last beat. So yeah. Good luck to all my folks out there, to all my beat makers, producers, engineers, people that's behind the scenes. Shout out to y'all, because without us, these artists would be singing a cappellas. You heard?